What is up, guys? How's it going? We have Ikan, who is the best Ryu player in the US, North America. Ikan mains Ryu. He thinks Ryu is the better Shoto. And then Nito, he mains Ken, but he thinks Ken is better, like, basically, but he thinks Ryu is kind of more consistent. And basically, what we're gonna have them do is discuss why they play the other one and why they think the other one is more beneficial in competitive play. So, you know, whoever wants to start, they can. So, like, they can start, like, why they play the character and why they think the other one's better.
Well, Nito's pointing at me, so I guess I'm gonna start.
All right.
So, hello, I'm Ikan. I'm the Ryu guy, big Ryu fan. Something that I have always seen in Ryu, well, I guess I should start by saying this. I've been playing the character since around 2017 in Smash 4. So I've had around 5, going on 6 years of experience with the character, even from a Smash 4 iteration to the Ultimate iteration. So I definitely think I've played and seen a lot of things. In terms of why I was a layover main from Smash 4, so I just kind of had to learn all the new mechanics and stuff like that. But I think Ryu at the start of the meta and the start of the game was a pretty underwhelming character. That's no shock to anybody. He's been one of the most buffed characters in Ultimate for sure. And I think something that really shows that is, I guess we can get the easy argument out of the way, is having a mid-range projectile that is both unreactable and can lead into setups with slow to cover stage is really, really strong, not only for the damage and the knockback and the stage control, but more so the options you can control. So there are 3 versions of Shaku or Hatos, slow, medium, and fast, or I guess light, medium, and heavy if you want a talent like that. But for the most part, having a projectile that at fast can be unreactable at around a third of the stage is really, really strong, because it forces people to pretty much always respect that burst range. Otherwise, they will get hit and they have to jump and move around Ryu, and that's what Ryu wants. Or you can set up a slow trap a little further away to be more confident when going into your neutral, and then the medium kind of does a half of each. So I think that having that mid-range to be able to not really fully commit with your body, like other FGC characters do, is really, really good for defensive play, and also setups to heighten his offensive play to make him, honestly, so much so that his offense can even be close to, if not more consistent than Ken's.
Okay, so I guess just to summarize, you feel like the biggest strength he has is like his ability to play mid-range, because it's something that Ken can't really do because he doesn't have the fireball control that Ryu does.
It's the easy argument. I want to get it out of the way first because that's what most people look at. But definitely like something that I would think should be mentioned before we go into more deeper things that I think not many Shotos talk about. So
okay.
I agree. Yes, mid-range is huge. Mid-range is huge.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean that is true, because you need like a strong burst option, and that is a solid burst option that someone has to respect, our characters have to respect. All right, Nito, you want to give your opinion of Ken?
Of Ken, why I think he's better than Ryu on paper?
Yes.
On paper.
On paper, I would say his kill power is arguably stronger. His combo game is also arguably stronger. And a lot of the just damage output from whatever he does is going to be stronger. If you play him correctly, although there are fallouts with Shoryu, there is counterplay to that. There's just more potential there, if that makes sense, because of it. So that's the only argument I would have for Ken. Yeah, he has a weaker fireball in mid-range, but it's still there. It still does almost the same thing. The damage for that is less, and it's slightly more reactable, but it still accomplishes the same goal in the end. It's still going to get you a quick little burst in neutral and condition people, make them jump or make them shield and see what you can do. The other thing that I for sure think, like this is my easy argument for Ken, would be his shield pressure compared to Ryu. His is just arguably better, and there's just strings where he can put you into scenarios where it's either going to break or it's going to poke guaranteed.
Okay, quick and simple. So basically, Ken can kill earlier on paper, and he also just has better shield pressure. And you're also saying that in terms of like the burst range with the fireball, it's the same thing, although Ken's doesn't do as much damage. It's like roughly the same.
Roughly the same. Ryu's definitely puts in a better position if it hits, especially if it's a red one.
Tumble is huge, yeah.
Yeah, tumble is huge because again, it makes them jump.
I guess with that, if you guys want to get into it, you guys can. I guess okay. One other thing I want to bring up before, or I guess you guys can talk about it. What about Ken's speed? Because Ken is faster, right? So wouldn't that also make Ken a better character on paper, at least?
I've actually thought about this a lot, and I think this is going to sound kind of a little bit weird for sure and not really thought about that much. The only stat that I think Ken has over Ryu is ground initial dash and ground speed. So the air speed is actually the same. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it because while their ground game is great for footsies and being able to move around, when you're trying to move around things in the air, like projectiles or swords or, disjoints or, stage traps like snake grenades, you're going to be in the air more often than not. So having that airspeed is huge. Not really, because ground speed is great. Obviously, I'm not going to say ground speed is bad because he becomes faster. He's harder to react to. He gets more things going on. He can chase air dodges and jumps better. He can trap landings better. All that stuff all comes from ground game. But I think what's funny is I don't think people talk about this a lot. Fast Shaku is as fast as Ken, which is it's really funny. Heavy Shaku or heavy Fireball or heavy Hado, it's as fast as Ken. So if you ever wanted to beat Ken and run up on somebody, there is no reason not to throw a fast Fireball and cover that space without risking throwing your body like a Terry crack shoot or a Ken Nair. Sure, you can throw your body when you need to and you can commit in the right spots like other characters do, like Fox, Wolf, Mario. I've always seen the fact that if the Fireball speed got buffed and it's faster to be almost as fast as Ken, and that's covering the ground area, do you need to risk putting yourself, I guess for higher reward, you can see some reward, but the risk by throwing yourself at disjoints, swords, projectiles, trappers, Pac-Man Hydrant is very, very terrifying in a lot of matchups.
You have anything to say to that, Nito?
Yeah, Hado has about 60 frames of lag. So if you're in that mid-range, you're not throwing your body at them, but you're kind of locking yourself. So if you are playing against a swordy and they happen to swing, your Fireball has almost no priority more often than not, so they just go through it, especially against people who are even faster, like say Fox or Captain Falcon or anyone who can jump in on you, or even like a Ken against a Ryu can jump in, for example. Things like that in the mid-range, I think it's better to have the movement and not lock yourself into a projectile in burst range or like mid-range. It's always better to have the confirm into the damage, so if you can pressure them by essentially throwing your body and getting a confirm, you're getting the guaranteed Fireball at the end or the guaranteed pressure, and that's just being more mobile is what would also make Ken better. The ground game that you were talking about.
That's true. You can lock yourself with Fireball, and 60 frames of lag is not really fun. But I think Ken also has the same problem. Like he doesn't want to throw his Fireball that much because he still has the same amount of lag. So it's good for. Well, I think the thing with mid-range and projectile is that the threat of it alone kind of forces commitments. And sure, you can like either hit it like you can like a Pikachu T-Jol or a Mario Fireball or some other moves like that. I think it's really funny because it's a little hard to hit a fast moving projectile like that unless you're already kind of preemptively covering space, along with the fact that if they preemptively swing an aerial or they try and hit a Fireball that they think is coming and they put themselves in lag, you can whip punish them with another Fireball. So it's kind of funny, like it's a little paradox, like, do I want to hit it? Do I not want to hit it? It goes kind of both ways. But I agree with you, actually. I think a lot of Shotos actually over-rely on Ryu's Fireball maybe too much at mid-level because they think it'll just win them games. It's a win button, kind of like, say, a Kazuya Electric. But that's definitely not the case in terms of like a tool for tool, win for win situation. You want to have it in your kit as a way to like control space, maybe catch a full hop, maybe get some chip. But for the most part, I agree with you, actually. I think that spot in terms of committing yourself to projectiles is bad for a lot of characters in Smash unless you're kind of, maybe Snake and you can kind of just throw whatever you want and have a good time. But, having some kind of decent mid-range pressure aside from, throwing yourself is also just a good tool to have, I would think. But I agree. Lag is bad.
I do have a little bit more to add on the throwing your body part. Another difference between Ken and Ryu would be the Tatsumaki. Ken has a very short and a longer Tatsumaki, so that's a good way of kind of burst an option throwing at them mid-range to kind of check. You do the light one. If they block it, they don't know if it's going to be the long one or the short one. It's very difficult to tell when it crosses up. So that would be another way of just getting pressure. And instead of going for the Fireball confirm after a simple like down tilt, hard down tilt Fireball, you would go down tilt, hard down tilt Tatsumaki to push them off ledge and start your ledge trap game, which is really good for both of the Shotos. For both Ryu and Ken, kind of just awesome at the ledge because of auto turn and being able to cover jumps with the up air for Ryu or Shoryu for Ken, which would be stronger all the way through. So that would be harder for DI.
Having Tatsu as a grounded, not too laggy and good-ish on shield burst option is pretty good. The reward is kind of mid if you're on stage for sure, but getting them off stage and getting that corner carry that I've seen other Shotos do is actually pretty good for sure. So I can definitely see that point. But Ryu's Shaku kind of puts into tumble off stage, so kind of does a similar idea. So you can kind of like down tilt, hard down tilt Shaku, and they're kind of in that weird spot where they have to either jump to stage or air dodge to ledge or go low. So I guess it kind of goes both ways. But yeah, no, that Tatsu as like a burst. Once you instead of like, going in for a tilt or going in for an aerial, you can use that special and throw people off. So I can definitely see that for sure. Speaking of up air, can I talk about up air? My favorite move ever. I think something that Ryu has that's pretty good, and I think is still really not talked about. So I guess I can use this as a platform to talk about it. Is Ryu's up air. That is a frame 6, pretty alright on shield, but you're not really using it on shield. It is essentially his main air-to-air move. It is at pass around 35, you can start true comboing a auto cancel up air, which auto cancels on frame, I think, 18, and the last hitbox is like an 11 or 12. So you have 6 frames to land, you get another up air, right? From 35 on, you can, at like mid percents, you can link up airs into Shoryus, or up airs into back airs, up airs into down airs if they DI poorly. You can get a lot of great conversions off of up air. And if you watch me play, you'll see me spamming the heck out of short hop up air, just covering jumps. Like, yeah, I love covering jumps for free because it's auto cancels. You can also do like an up air towards the opponent, auto cancel, and then it's like an empty land grab. Like, it's really, really good for air to airs. Not unbeatable, of course. Only the arm is intangible, not his body. So if you have a sword, you can swing through the arm and hit him. But for a lot of those long-lasting, annoying multi-hit moves, say Ivysaur Nair is trying to land on, Ken's up air does not have the same liberty of a disjoint, so you can kind of bleed that out cleanly with Ryu's. Mario Downer is drifting towards you, can beat it out cleanly with Ryu's. All these non-disjointed, active, multi-hit, annoying moves, you can kind of just stuff up for free and get a combo and lead to either 50% with no platforms, or if you get a good platform read, death from 40 on, which is actually really, really crazy. And it works on DI in, DI away, any kind of... I've not seen like a consistent way to like, all you can do is to play the Mario and mitigate damage and just take your 50 and now you're at 40 to 90 and then the jab Shoryu kills, It's like a really, really good air to air. And obviously it's on Shotos, so their jump height is not the best and their air drift is not the best, but having a move that you can swing that's fast, auto cancels and kills pretty reliably, if you can do true combos out of it, or get stage control. You can just do up air, back air instead of going for the Shoryus or down airs, or do the Blendon, the down air Tatsu. That sour down air stuff is really, really crazy. Yeah, that stuff is cool. You can do a lot of really cool stuff out about up air, and I think for a good while it was one of the most underrated moves in the game. So definitely love that move to death.
I'm gonna have to agree. Ryu's up air is just actually better than Ken's up air. There's not a good argument there. I would be lying to myself if I tried to argue that Ken's was better. I will say it does put you in different positions. That's what it's good for. It's good for setting you up for grounded Shoryu on platforms, and that gives you a mix-up where you can either Shoryu left or right and force the DI mix-up so you can kill earlier. But the move itself just doesn't combo as well compared to Ryu's up air, and it's not as disjointed, and it does less damage. So overall, that's definitely a Ryu favored move.
I think there's one thing that Ken's up air does have over Ryu's, and it's 1 frame faster. And that's all I know. That's all I got. Yeah.
I will say that as far as aerials are concerned, I think Ken's Nair is better for comboing because you can do Nair into up air and it's true, and that'll give you into platform strings or extensions that you can just keep doing. Like if people DI bad, you can get Nair, up air, You can kind of do the old Smash 4 Ryu Nair trains, but it would be with up air. Yeah. So it's a different move. It's not as good, but it sets up for different positions where you can still get a kill earlier.
Yeah, I've always agreed that too. I think Ken's Nair is like the combo Nair. I've always called it like it. It's funny how their Nairs actually combo their player styles really well. So Ken's Nair, when you get the hit, you go for the commit. You can get Nair trains, you can get Nair Faxfall procs tilt stuff. Nair doesn't put into like crazy tumble pretty late, so you can get like Nair combos into Shoryu, like Nair into F smash, Nair into Bear. You can get a lot of crazy stuff. But Ryu's hits lower and is faster out of shield. So you can actually use it out of shield as not both a get off me tool for say a Spacey smashing on your shield. You can kind of like Nair out and trade out with those moves because it hits lower. And as an out of shield option, if you drift forward with full momentum, you also get a true combo past, again, like 35, 40 into rising Nair, falling Nair, into down tilt, jabs, up tilts, any kind of grounded starter. So Ryu's fits better for his out of shield and utility game, whereas Ken's is always better for, and I guess defensive game as well. While Ken's is better for his aggressive, get on you, I'm going to do a ton of damage, I hit you with this Nair, dare, GG's, that kind of style.
So Ryu's Nair is a better out of shield option, and then his up airs is better for juggling?
Yes.
I guess matchup-wise, would there be any matchups that you would say Ken is just outright better or Ryu's is outright better? It feels like Ryu has better ability, has a better ability to like keep the opponent away from him because he has a better out shield option. and then just a good move to like anti-air with. And Ken wants to get into the opponent and like kind of mess them up that way. So I was just wondering, based off their play styles, is there any matchup where one or the other is just outright better?
What do you think, Nito?
I wouldn't say Ryu has the better out of shield option game. Like, his Nair is better out of shield, yes, but if someone's pressuring you, Ken actually has a faster up B out of shield compared to Ryu by 1 frame, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
and that's kind of important on characters who are playing safe. Like, let's say Ryu is trying to like cross you up with Nair or something. That's usually what -2 to -4 if you do it like just about like perfect almost all the time. Once it's stalled, you're gonna get into that -5 range where you can actually up B out of shield as Ken, and you cannot with Ryu. It's certain matchups where there's safer aerials like Mario, it'll matter more. Things like that.
I found characters that do a lot of rising aerials on your shield and drift away or drift towards you. Ryu's best way to get out of that, his up B won't sweet spot. So you have to like do like maybe a drop shield up air, a back air out of shield, an up smash out of shield. While Ken's DP is always strong all the way throughout, so you can get a lot of good damage and some kills on those weird rising aerials. Like Falco forward air, you can like shore you under it, I think, sometimes if he does it while rising. Like, you can do a lot of weird things like that. So don't quote me on that, though. I haven't actually never done that. So up smash is better in that spot. But no, I agree. I think matchup-wise, there are some matchups where you can kind of just like steamroll the opponent with Ken. Like, I think about like Bowser DK. Like,
yeah,
you can kind of just like hit them and kill them, and with Ken, and it's really, really like one-player gamey almost. But then I think about like swords and what the meta is mainly comprised of, and I'm like, you kind of want the fireball. But I've seen a lot of people say things like they'd rather go Ken into Sonic or Ken into Steve because those characters are so good at denying any kind of defensive game from 90% of the cast. So you might as well have the speed stat, drop the fireball, and hope you get your hits in through neutral. I'm not sure how I feel about that because there's some niche stuff with both of those matchups, with how Minecart and Spin Dash both interact with fireball. But I think there are certain playstyles that are really into Ken. But I think anything Ken can do, I think Ryu can probably have a simpler time doing if he just slows the game state down. I
agree. Ryu does a lot of the things Ken do if you slow the game down and you play at a different pace. But there are matchups where it feels like if you don't match the pace of a certain character, you end up getting rolled, if that makes sense.
Roy, maybe, right?
Think of Roy, Fox.
Yeah.
Certain fast ones where if you don't keep up, you're going to get pressured too much. You're forced to pick options, and if you're not constantly picking an option or can't fight back, you're going to get kind of one-playered yourself. Exactly. Like, if you lock yourself into thinking that you can kind of match the pace of some of these faster characters with Ryu as fast as Fireball can be, there are some characters that don't really care. See Mithra, right? She can kind of just like run all over. And at that point, you're going to want to be playing the blow for blow game with Ken. You're going to rather go for maybe, your anti-air shore use, your crescent kick combos, all that crazy cool stuff, your Inazuma shield breaks, to beat out things like Foresight. So, there's definitely utility for sure. I just value my up air too much. Yeah, love that thing. It's definitely a playstyle thing for sure. Like I said, I think up air's great. I'm not going to take anything away from that. I will say crescent combo will give you more damage. It gives you more options on paper. You have better routes, essentially. It's not always true, but you can put people in a lot of 50-50s where they have to choose, and if they choose wrong, they could end up just dying. Yes, you can put them into like a scramble of there are 3 options. Did you pick the right one? You didn't, you could die, right? And in a tournament setting, I actually think that's really, really good, SDI regardless, because you can still just hit them sometimes. It is hard, I've seen as a Ken player, to kind of gauge how the opponent wants to escape my combos, especially as we play more best of 3s and sometimes best of 5s, since Collision was all best of 5. You have to be really cognizant as a player to, once you understand to get that hit, can you maximize that damage into a consistent 50 to 60, or should you kind of play Ryu and settle for your 30 to 40, And that 10%, 20% difference, it means a lot in Ultimate, for sure. I think people underestimate the value of like percent, because anybody can kill you at 20. Everybody has 0 to 50s, but if you have a good, consistent way of getting damage, and it doesn't rely on, say, a bad air dodge or not hard enough SDI, or unreliable 2-frame air dodges, there are little things like that you have to be really cognizant as a player and bracket to recognize those habits and roll the dice and get the jackpot, Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about the kill confirms, because I would assume that overall Ryu has better kill confirms, but I guess Nito was saying that like Ken could just kill outright earlier.
I think specifically for Ken, as much as proximity jab kind of sucks, it's just simply better for Ken. The way it works, you can get a lot more out of it compared to Ryu, and that's a huge thing. I think down air on stage can get you a lot more as Ken compared to Ryu, and those are just huge damage combo starter moves as well. They're risky, but if you can get them, they should add up to more percent or potentially a kill, especially with the Shoryu DI mix-ups and things like that once you put that into your play.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on the train for proximity jab. Proximity jab allowing for cousin kick and roundhouse combos are really, really good. Especially it just pops them in such a nice position, and it does 14 or 15% fresh. Like, it's really, really strong and good, where Ryu just kind of confirms into a fireball, a Tatsu, or a Shoryu, and he gets like 30 consistently. You're still rolling the jackpot off cousin kick, obviously, but you can still obviously get a lot of damage if you read them right. In terms of kill confirms outright, I think Ryus have done a lot of good work in the past couple of maybe year or two to negate as much SDI as they possibly can, because I remember back in 2019 and early 2020, people thought that because Ken's sweet spot Shoryu was all the way through, he could kind of consistently always get the Shoryu and get the kill, and Ryus were having a hard time. I remember there was a clip of I think it was Beak fighting a Lucina, and he was going for hard down tilt Tatsu past tumble percent, and they were DIing and teching, or he was going for double down tilt Shoryu and it wasn't hitting. And I remember there was that period where it was like, can Ryu get any kills off crazy good SDI? And the answer is yes, we just weren't using the right moves. Shoutouts to Jab 1-2, definitely being very, very helpful. I think a lot of Shotos disregarded that move because it's a weirdly programmed move in the fact that you have a 2-frame link to link Jab 1 into Jab 2, and if you miss that link, they can shield. With hold buffering and finding out ways to consistently get those jabs in recent developments, that confirm has been very, very good and very difficult to SDI out of. Another one is obviously single tilt confirm, single down tilt, single jab. I've been starting to do a little bit more. It's a little hard, but it's really, really cool. And using other moves like that, single hit up air is very, very good. You have to be really hard to get out of it. It's very consistent and very reliable. However, and while Ken's Shoryuken is SDIable, he has so much mix that I'm starting to like. The only reason you should be getting hit by a full Ken Shoryu, or you should be falling out, is if they do the wrong starter, and they give you ample time to preemptively SDI in and fall out of it. So overall, I think Ryus have actually worked really hard to make sure their character works consistently. A lot to mention, you don't even need a Shoryu. Single down tilt Tatsu is really, really big and very hard to get out of. Single hit Jab 1-2 Tatsu, up tilt up air Shoryu, these consistent, small, easy bread and butters that are going to work 99.9% of the time because of their reliability, and he has so many mixes of them, he can just pick a different starter and it's so much harder to get out of. Makes it really helpful. But Ken has a vortex of mix though, so it doesn't really matter. Goes both ways.
Tatsu is a weaker kill move than Shoryu, right?
Yes, by around 15 to 20%.
What would be the reason to do Tatsu over Shoryu?
The initial hit of Tatsu is bigger than Shoryu, and it can catch a lot more characters if you do 2 down tilts. So double down tilt for Ryu, if the opponent is reacting, can preemptively SDI out to avoid the Shoryu sweet spot. However, Tatsu covers that entirely, unless you're a very hurtbox shifty character, like we're talking like maybe less than 3 to 5 characters can actually get out of it. So it covers a lot of space. And because the initial hit spot, the initial leg sweep is bigger, you'll be covering that whole cancel, and you'll consistently kill it around 130, 140, even though down tilt Shoryu would kill it around 90 to 100. So yeah, around 30% difference. And actually, funnily enough, the heavy Tatsu, when DI'd correctly, actually is weaker than the initial hit Tatsu DI'd correctly, funnily enough. So you actually never should be for heavy Tatsu on the kills. You should probably be going for light Tatsu, or the initial hit Tatsu, because that's always better in a lot of situations for kill confirms. And once they're in hard down tilt tumble percent, floaties can escape by jumping out, and fast fallers can tech the Tatsu, the hard down tilt. So it gets much, much more finicky, and it's not reliable. And if you're playing Ryu, you want reliability. So yeah.
Okay. And then I guess regarding Ken, his is just reliant on mix-ups, on like the opponent getting popped up higher, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of mix-ups and a lot of different confirms, especially with reverse Shoryu, medium Shoryu, back roundhouse. Like, he's got a lot of mix-ups in terms of like what he can do. And it becomes to the point where I don't want to say it's a guessing game on what you pick, but it is essentially. You don't have enough time to reliably SDI in on a Shoryu but out for a down tilt. It's just not how the game is programmed. So you kind of have to pick one, and I don't want to say hope, but yes, you have to hope. Like if he hits 2 down tilts, Ken can go into roundhouse, and you can escape that by SDIing out. But guess what? You SDI out, and he does a Shoryu. He's going to combo that into a Shoryu because you're going to go straight to the top and die. So unreactable mix, 50-50s essentially. They're still escapable, and I don't know if they're more reliable. Is mix reliable enough in Ultimate? I guess is a big question.
I think it's a huge part of the game.
It's a big part of the game for sure. You can get a lot of stocks and last hit situations through mix. I've always said that Ken can be either a 50% to 120% character, where Ryu is kind of consistently an 80 to 85 to 90% character. So it really depends on what you want, what you value. But kill confirms, they kill outright. Their Shoryukens are broken. It's okay.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of what you said is basically true. I mean, it is true. It's not basically true. It is true. I will say, as far as SDI is concerned, this is kind of my hot take. I think SDI affects Ken less than it affects Ryu. Simply because the short... Yeah. So the Shoryu hitbox is actually bigger for Ken compared to Ryu. Whereas with Ryu, you're more consistent to hit the sour if they're like preemptively SDIing super hard all the time. If you ever go for, say, 2 down tilts and you hit the Shoryu still, it'll usually sour spot. Whereas with Ken, you end up getting that weird hitbox where it pops them up higher into the 3rd hitbox and they just die super early.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, if you get hits 1 and 3 of Shoryu, they die earlier than hits 1, 2, and 3, really enough. So you can kind of sometimes Mickey Mouse your way into a stock because somebody tried to escape your combo. It's really funny.
It's great.
But those, like, I think in 2023, if you're using multiple down tilts to get a kill confirm and not doing multiple, say, jabs or up tilt up air, I think you're playing Ryu not at foolproof level, essentially. Because the time it takes you to react to a double down tilt Shoryu gives time to the opponent to double down tilt, to react to the double down tilt and SDI out preemptively. I think if Ryu's never going to get the hit, I think jab and single hit down tilt are infinitely better than, say, multiple down tilts, because even though you can match down tilt on shield, if I'm matching down tilt on shield and they mistime a jump or a roll, I'm down tilt, double down tilt Tatsuing usually, because I don't ever want to run the risk in bracket of missing a Shoryu and whiffing it. I'll just play neutral one more time, which if you ever use neutral is fine.
I'm gonna go back to the whole guessing game where Ken could kill earlier. If you know people are trying to fall in, right, because you're gonna guess that they're trying to fall in behind you, you can usually do 2 or 3 down tilts and then Shoryu, and they'll get Mickey Mouse killed, just like you said earlier, because you'll hit that sweet spot at the very top and they're DIing bad on top of it. So you'll get kills around like 60, 50, 70 with that Shoryu, right around that range. Whereas with Ryu, you have to be honest for it.
Yeah, I think Ryu's is a normal move, and I say normal move because you kind of always know how it's going to work. Ken can sometimes his character just sometimes works better, and he sometimes just hits you with 2 hits of Shoryu, and you DI badly trying to escape the combo. It is so weird, but hey, I mean, if that's the lifestyle that people choose because they want to sometimes kill people really, really early, then low-key, Ken has that, upper-handed, but I think in bracket reliability, you want to be able to be the most comfortable with your character, and knowing all those little niche micro interactions with especially character hurt boxes sounds like a total nightmare to learn, rather than knowing how this Ryu single hit Shoryuken works. SDI this, combo starter that, launching here this, rage that, single hit, 3rd hit here, single hit period, just that. There's a lot of micro interactions. And I don't talk about Ken very often because I don't play him, but I've seen all these micro interactions happen, and they've led to sets win, sets lost, and up air Shoryu doesn't connect on a Rosalina falling. Shout out to Vendetta to Buzz, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember that set.
Remember? I was thinking about that.
He could have gone for grounded Shoryu, right? Could have just down then Shoryu'd.
I don't remember the clip, but he might have been able to. But in bracket, are you really thinking about that, though? That's the thing. Sometimes the mix overwhelms even the Ken player.
I think what you should, if you're the Ken main, being at that high level, you should know all these little interactions and
I agree, though.
things. They should be on your mind all the time. It's hard, obviously. That's why on paper, I think Ken is better. It's hard to keep all these things in mind, but if you are able to, you get a better reward for it.
Do you think, on the topic of difficulty to play, do you think Ryu is easier or harder at high level?
Damn, that's a tough one. I'm trying not to lie here, but obviously I have to try to favor it towards Ken a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can be honest. You don't have to
be honest.
Yeah,
be real, bro.
honest.
At high level, I think Ken's harder. There's too many things you just have to know or have to have kind of like a sixth sense about. You have to know which way they're gonna DI, which way they're gonna go. You have to have a lot of your conditioning that you do. You have to know preemptively. Whereas with Ryu, you kind of know what's going to work. Yeah, your game plan is more honest, but it's there. It's more consistent, and that's just better in the meta right now. I think that's why people like Takara will struggle, where people compared to people like Asimo and Ikan do better at majors and do better at events like that. There are certain Ken players who are doing very good right now. Like Jazo is on the come up for sure. He went to Japan, I think, Edinburgh or some major over there, and he got 9th, I think.
Kagaribi.
I could be wrong, 13th, 9th.
13th or
Yeah, that
17th,
one,
9th.
Kagaribi.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Kagaribi.
And then Vendetta, I think he played mostly Ken, and he got 17th at Genesis. Not as good as 9th as some people at Genesis, right? But it's there. It's there. There are people who are pushing the Ken meta a little bit more. It's coming. I mean, I gave up on it. I think Smirk is also doing really good. He just
Smirk
has a
is
little
very
bit of tournament
underrated.
nerves.
I think Smirk from Colorado. I think he's top 3 over there with Shu and Kronos. No, Kronos is
I
Colorado,
think he's
right?
the
Yeah.
top
Pretty sure,
10.
yeah.
Having met him and seen him play, not played him myself, but seen him play, I think Smirk is actually a really underrated Ken player. And I mean, there are both high-level reps for both characters. And I mean, we've seen it with Vendetta, we've seen it with Ashimo, Munikin, myself. We've seen a lot of great players do great things. They're both viable at the end of the day. I think a lot of characters in Ultimate are viable, and deciding who's better is just kind of pointless because they have all 4 of the FGC characters have shown prominent results at high to top level play. So if they're all prominent at high to top level, what's stopping you from playing which one you ever like the most, right?
Very true. Wait, okay, I have a
You
question.
should go Kazuya.
True. Broken character.
So Ikan, did you always main Ryu? Did you never use Ken?
All right, story time. Coming into Smash Ultimate, December 2018. I'm like a baby in high school, having a good time. All right, and I think you know how your friends have like those. I didn't have a Switch at the time, so my friends are playing on their Switches, and I'm watching all the Ultimate pre-releases. I'm coming in as a Smash for Ryu. I'm playing Ryu. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Let me try Ken out. And I had 3 things happen that made me not want to play the character. Tatsu Fallout hurt me. Up air did like 7% in trading mode, or did like 6.8, and I was like, okay, that does no damage. And then I did like a crescent kick by accident instead of a sure you can kill confirm, and I was like, oh, this is really, really hard and unreliable. I don't like having this extra input here. Those 3 things happened to little like high school Ikan, and he was like, nah, I'm just gonna play Ryu, bro. I like this consistency. I like this way better. But I tried him out for like 2 weeks on release, and he was all right. And I experimented with the buffs, and it's fun, but that was a period where nobody knew what SDI was, or nobody really cared, or nobody really knew, and the characters were bad. So it was really just like I dumped it after 2 weeks. I just knew it wasn't for me. I also had this like little like it was fun to be like one of the few Ryus doing it instead of like everyone jumping ship to Ken. So I was like, I'm just gonna be a legacy and just kind of do it like that. Here's your fun fact of the day, which might be disturbing for you, and it's a secret fact I've only told a few friends. Ken's short hop up air does the same damage as Steve's wooden axe. Steve's up tilt does the same damage.
Secondary.
Yeah, and Steve can hit 40 of those, and Ken can hit 2. So I just want to throw that out there. If you care about damage, there's another character for you who goes,
But he can special cancel into Shoryu. Yeah,
Steve
it only does like 30. Yeah.
Sorry, this is not Steve's discussion.
It's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, it's pretty wild though.
It's pretty crazy. When you think about it like that. Right?
It is. That's just like faster, and it's positive on Shield sometimes.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous on Shield.
I feel like we've kind of talked enough because I feel like at the end of it, you guys have like a pretty similar understanding, and it's like basically the same thing. Where Ryu is the more consistent of the 2 Shotos, but then if you wanna just throw the dice, Ken can like randomly just pop off and go crazy.
I agree. Yeah, you get the chance of really crazy high potential rolling the dice and hitting the jackpot with your good combos, consistent kills, good Shoryus, roundhouse DI mix-ups. You can roll the dice and get all of that, but Ryu, at the end of the day, his tools always work in a very similar vein for 99 to 100% of the cast always. He always has mostly the same combos in the game plan, which is pretty consistent, and you get focused more on, say, neutral or advantage or disadvantage or ledge trumping or ledge trapping or edge guarding with soft nair or juggling with up air. There's a lot of better situations where you can divert your mental energy to, rather than maybe this up air combo will work on Greninja when he's SDIing down and away in a frame 2 air dodge, like stuff like that, right?
I feel like we left out something we didn't really talk about too much for Ken and Ryu. I kind of want to bring up. Sure. It's the difference in focus.
Oh yeah.
Ryu's focus, I would say, is arguably better. So I'm gonna give you this one. But there are different uses for Ken's focus that I think people haven't done just yet. I think the only person who was close to kind of doing it was Jivo. And I think you know where I'm kind of going with this, where you could wave bounce it and you get a little bit more out of Ken, you get more pressure on shield. It's really, really hard and technical, but it's something that could still be explored to push Ken's meta a little bit.
Yeah, so their focus attack frame data is mostly the same. It might be like a frame or two difference, but it doesn't matter in the practicality of things. Ryu's hits slightly further than Ken's because apparently his punch reaches further than the little kick he does. So Ryu's in terms of range and utility is better, but I think Ken's don't really use it in pressure situations the same way actually Ryu's use it. If you watch, I am a big wave bounce movement maniac. Yeah. There are some things with focus attack that are a little interesting. One of the two being if you do it from ground to ground. So if you're hitting on the ground and you dash and you hit it on shield and you dash forward or back, you're -8, maybe 9, -8 or 9, right? If you do it from the air, hit somebody's shield and dash cancel into the ground, your dash frames get replaced with normal landing lag frames of 4. And that can lead to focus 1, focus 2 being up to +8, usually being +4 or +3 or +2 or +5 on shield. And he can go into any grounded combo starter to either break your shield consistently with Ryu, proc tilt and destroy you is a true shield brink, or he can just, Ken can do like down smash, roundhouse and break your shield. But that is a little situational because it's like a frame 26, 25, 30 wind up, right? Takes some time, right? But in a situation like Ken, where he's putting you in resets with crescent kick, if you just jump forward and focus onto somebody's shield, you might be able to set that up into consistent shield breaks, consistent pokes, consistent stuff like that, which actually I don't think Ken players do a lot compared to Ryu's. I find Ryu's actually just jumping in instead of doing a nair, doing short hop focus and popping your shield or doing crazy damage on PS2 platforms, doing stuff like that. So maybe there's still some room to grow for Ken's meta in terms of the movement and the pressure, in the words of Moxie, the aggressive movement pressure that I think a lot of Shotos like to put on. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can be definitely done over there in terms of utility for Ken because it links into his kit better. But the armor and the reversal aspect and the kills and the power is always still valued for both Shotos.
Well, that's incredibly frightening, and I hope no one does that.
Yeah, pretty scary. It's very situational, and you got to be shielding a frame 30 wind up move. But hey, what happens though? Right?
If you don't shield it, you get stunned. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to time your jump or roll or get out of there fast, or otherwise, it's gonna get popped, right? It's called Descending Dragon. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's actually insane.
Can we talk about color canceling?
Yeah. If there's more you want to talk about, then by all means, go for it.
Kens are better at doing it. I will say that.
I agree. So color canceling, if for those who are unaware, if you cancel the first 3 to 5 frames of a down smash startup, you can get a very speedy Tatsu and a very, you can get some other specials, but Tatsu is the main one. You move very, very quickly. And for their Tatsus, Kens can actually be used as a pseudo burst option, as can Ryu's, with Kens leading into better strings or positioning where Ryu's outright kills. I think it's good for both of them. I think it's all right. It is very all or nothing with Ryu because if you hit a shield, it's -70 on shield or something stupid like that. So you can get drop shield, Buster Wolf, literally, drop shield, anything, right? And it's very, very scary. But it's a good burst option for both. I think this is one of the few situations where Ryu is kind of the jackpot all-in character because Hisatsu might outright kill or might outright hit a shield and get him killed. And Ken's is more of a utility. I'm going to zoom towards you and maybe get stage control. So
bit of a bait with Ken.
Bit of a bait. You can kind of catch people doing weird things, but it's good. It's nice. It's not like game breaking or anything. It's just like a little mix up they have. So I like talking about it though. I hit it in bracket for the first time this weekend in a little while on a major scale. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, very cool, very fun, good mix up.
You can do it with Shoryu.
Yeah,
you can.
But is it not good with Ken to do like the car cancel Shoryu?
It's a gimmick with Ken. You're charging down smash in place. You're waiting for them to jump in punish, and you just Shoryu. Like it's such a gimmick, but it's such a fun gimmick.
It's a fun gimmick because they might be jumping. You can just wait out the down smash like any normal good player will at high level though. So and you can throw a fireball. Okay, right? Ken fireball and Ryu can do the same, but Ryu Shoryu doesn't kill, and Ryu doesn't really care to anti-air you with Shoryu unless you're at 200%. So it's not really too important. Tatsu is the main one.
I'm trying to think. Do we miss anything? I definitely did it first on stream. I got it a few times.
It was that like I remember it was that local where you like did it and you looked at your opponent and you laughed. I was like laughing at that all the time back then.
It was I think it was Wednesday Night Fights. Yeah. That's actually the first tournament Wednesday Night Fights where I beat Larry.
He's gonna kick you off, bro.
I mean he did. Good shit, I guess.
GG's. 3 years later.
3 years later.
Hey, it meant a lot to me, Larry.
Here's my fun Ryu fact. Ryu Hato has been buffed not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 different patches Ryu's Shoto got buffed.
What
I
was
think it might be the most buffed move in Smash Ultimate.
You mean in terms
Maybe.
of like? You mean in terms of frequency or like?
Yeah, in frequency of patching an individual move, I think it's the most times. So you had the first patch where they made it faster and slower, right? 3.1. Then you had the block stun patch when they got their down smash. Then you got the linking Shaku together on the Kazuya patch, and on the last patch you got the more damage again to 17. So 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of another move that's been buffed 4 times. That's pretty wild. Yeah, the Ryu buffs were definitely crazy.
Yeah, I think he's probably like a top 5 most buff character for sure. Him and Ken, like easily. Like I think of like Falcon, I think of Diddy, I think of Shotos. Usually those are the 3 I think of, but there's probably some others that I'm forgetting. Cheek for sure.
I made a video on it, and I definitely forgot to include Ken and Ryu, but I did have 5 other characters.
Ken and Ryu got mad buff. That's crazy.
Yeah. No. Diddy, I think is the most buff character of all time, though. Yeah, he was insane. Yeah,
that's all I've got really.
Yeah.
It's pretty all out there.
Hopefully, this has been good for Larry. I love Larry's content. Subscribe to Larry.
Subscribe to Larry.
Yeah. No, this is good. This is good. Yeah. So I mean, again, I feel like in terms of of both, they're both really good. I guess something to add is that for the meta, you would agree that like Ryu is like more relevant in the meta because he just does better in matchups that. Oh, you don't think he's more relevant in the meta?
No. I think what it is the Ryu players are just better than the Ken mains. I think that's what it comes down to. I think if Asimo was a Ken main, he would be the best Ken main. I think if Ikan was the Ken main, he would be right there with him.
Interesting. So you think the Ken's more relevant in the meta?
On paper.
On paper.
Well, Smash isn't played on paper though. It's played on monitors and controllers, right?
True. Okay, so on paper, Nito thinks that Ken is a more meta-relevant character, but I guess off the paper, he seems like a very inconsistent character. So I would say that Ryu is more relevant off paper.
You mean on monitors and computers? Yeah.
on monitors and computers, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there are more Ken players than Ryu players, and that like hurts because there's like 4-ish Ryu players, maybe 5. Like there's not many Ryu players that are like consistently still traveling and going to majors. There's Ashimo, myself, Munikin, Andres FN, and Vendetta as kind of co-mains. And like that's mostly it. Like there's probably some others going around. Like I've seen like Titanga is pretty good over in the East Coast. I've seen there's some other, like there's a Michigan Ryu out there. There's, European Ryus, I'm sure, but Mexican Ryus. But those are like the couple that I think of for sure. When I think of Ryu traveling and, doing well at majors and traveling out of state. But there's just more Ken players. Like there's just a lot more. And it's like a little hard to gauge if it's the sample size of players determining if the character is good, or if it's like the skill set of a player and what the player has been able to achieve that makes them good. I remember Tweak said something along the lines of like the sample size of Ultimate is so small because there's so many few good reps that it's hard to know if results are viable enough to determine it. If a character is good or not, which is a very good point. There's not enough people playing the game at a high level to show that being real. But I still think Ryu's ability to kind of just like disengage at certain spots and be able to get information from the opponent, and in a bracket setting where you need all the information you can get to get the dub, like you're gonna want a tool from mid range to help you out with that, and a punishing and air to air in a game where everybody jumps. Right? I'm not scared to get hit by Ken, right? So you gotta get the information somehow.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't have anything else to ask or add. So you guys are fine with that. I guess we can end it here. You have things to add. What do you want to add?
I do. I think you should just play Kazuya.
Low key. If you want to sacrifice your fundies and not have to worry about frame 2 air dodge, and you just want to kill, well, no, I actually take that back. Kazuya has so many little situations too, though, but they're pretty consistent. Like he's got to worry about air dodges and hurtbox shifting and all that. However, box Kazuya, pretty good character.
That's the play.
That's the play. That's the future. That's the future.
So what you're saying is you're gonna become a box Kazuya like Nito.
Oh no, that character is so slow, bro. I played him for like half an hour and I'm like, I can't fly through the air like I like doing. I gotta like stay on the ground and just like press C stick down and forward over and over. This is so boring. Oh my god. No. His speed is so, his disadvantage is so aggravating. I cannot stand fading a character that has that kind of disadvantage. I don't know how Riddles does it, bro. He gets hit and he just up airs out, and I'm like, why isn't my up air out like that, dude?
Because it's frame 4.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
it's great.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's I think Kazuya is a weird case in the meta because he's crazy good and he's great. However, in a way, he's kind of just like better Ken because he has 50-50s with like platforms and ground, right? So it's kind of like the crescent kick, setups, right? But if he guesses right, he just kills you instead of dealing 80 or 70 or 60. So, it's pretty crazy how crazy that character is and how he operates, especially with stage bans. Like if you're on a 3-ban or a 2-ban list and you only have FD, Callus, and Town, you can only ban 2 of them. Like he's gonna get a flat stage, and if he gets you in center stage with an electric, you should die, right? Unless you're like Greninja. Shoutouts to Greninja. Duck Hunt, right? Shoutouts to Duck Hunt. Those are like the 2 characters that don't get TOD'd, right?
Actually, that's not true. That's not true at all.
Really?
Yeah, Kazuya has TODs on everybody, especially if you're crazy good with the tech skill. He has a crouch jab loop. He also has the option select with electric, where if you hit him at 0 grounded, you can just crouch jab into electric again, and there's just routes on everybody.
Even on Duck Hunt, where he can pancake even Duck Hunt and Greninja?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
With Greninja, actually, there's another route you can do. You can get the Sour Nair into
the Demon God
Fist.
I haven't seen somebody hit that in bracket, though. Is it practical?
I hit it once.
That's all you need, bro. That's all you need. You hit it once, that's all that matters.
The legendary box Kazuya, dude.
Yeah,
it'll get there. It'll get there.
I think all the fighting game characters are good enough to do well at a high level, and then, some have an easier time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I feel like I've always said this ever since like post even like Glitch Infinite. I was like, if all of them can do well, does it matter who's better? Like, does it really matter if Ken is better than Ryu or Ryu better than Ken if they can both do well if the player permits it, right? That's what I've always thought.
I agree, but to someone it does.
That's good. To someone, they want to see, is Ryu better than Ken, right? And that'll determine their decision, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you want the answer?
In a game like Ultimate, like, anybody can do well. Like, Peanut got like 17 that collision. Like, dude, anything could happen. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, he almost beat Leo.
He almost beat Leo. Yeah. No,
he almost beat Leo at Rising Grind.
Yeah.
It was last hit.
True. He actually should have won, but he dropped to confirm.
Would have been upset factor a billion. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. But on that note, I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for doing this with me. Nito, thanks for doing the debate while you're working.
Homie. Yeah. Homie. I feel guilty. I'm on spring break this week. So I'm literally just chilling, having a good time. But my man is on the grind.
Dude, you should come to SoCal. I'll house you.
No, I'm in Florida. Yeah. Oh my god.
Dude, what's funny is like I also asked Jazo and Nito said he really wanted to do it. So like like I legit asked Jazo. Nito's like, can I do it? I really want to. I'm like, all right, fine.
I love Nito, bro. Whenever I see Nito at any tournament, I'm always smiling, having a good time, dude. This guy is real.
All right.
Yeah,
hey,
but I guess
we do it for Larry. We do it for Larry and for Ikan.
We do it for Larry. Yeah. We do love Larry. Yeah.
The homies.
Yeah.
So subscribe to Larry on YouTube. Follow Nito on Twitter and Twitch. What are your handles? Drop them.
I mean, it's Larry's thing. He's got to drop it. He's the guy. I don't want to.
Oh, that's true. Larry's gonna do it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Follow Nito on his Nito SSB. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's FGC. Actually, I changed it.
Oh, you changed it. Wow. All right, Nito FGC. Yeah. And then
Ikan MS1. M is in Mr. S is in Sir. 1 is number 1.
Okay.
Ikan MS1. Yeah.
All right, got
Thank
it.
you.
But yeah, once again, guys, thank you. I appreciate it and have a good day.
These Ken mains have to work, man.